This is one of my favorite parts. I want to hear or want to get to introduce everybody to our new faculty and staff. And I get to start first this year. I think everybody knows that Laura King left us in June, and she took a promotion. She is actually the treasurer for the Jackson County School District, and very proud of her. She also gets off at 3:30 in the afternoon, so she doesn't have to take leave for boys' ball games. But we have missed her this summer, definitely. But I could not be more pleased to introduce you to her replacement, Miss Kristen Smith. If you would please stand, Kristen. Kristen is not a native of Newport, but you would never know it. She's involved in so many different organizations, and so many people around the community know her. She is an attorney by training. She was self-employed here, and she decided she would like to be in higher ed, and she has chosen to be the assistant to the chancellor for now. So we're just I'm thrilled to have her on board. So with that, I would like to just start with all of the cabinet members and have you stand up and introduce the new folks in your area. Dr. Ayers, you want to go first because we have quite a few new faculty.
I'm going to let my deans
Great.
introduce for their area.
And Dr. Smith, I'm so sorry.
That's okay. Joe, you want to start?
Right now, we have one new faculty member, Dr. Jason Self. In our teaching primary history, physical sciences area, took the place of Misty Stroud.
Great.
We have another opening. And then we have two that are new positions, but they're known to us, Anna Westman and Rob Burgess. Okay. One, Rob for STEM and Anna Westman for liberal arts.
Who's next?
Okay, so I believe we did this morning, but my new folks will stand up again. I've got several. Chris Hicks, I think most of you have met Chris. He's our director of nursing. Kevin G., who's our chef over the hospitality program, he's actually the director. We're so glad to have him with us. And Savannah Reed is our new cosmetology instructor. A few of these have been here a while, so you probably know them. They're just new this year. Miss Judy is her very first day here with us. She's actually our new Ignite instructor for the health professions track, and she's replacing Haley Bethel's slot there because Haley moved up to our PM program. And then Rhiannon Homer, who is our clinical coordinator and taking care of RNAC for us. Jimmy Gobover's outside.
Oh, sure, yeah, we can, we can skip over.
I have two new staff members. We have Greg Lawson. He is our campus guide. You still get introduced. Greg Lawson. And Samantha Harris, who is our new student affairs specialist on our Jonesboro campus. She could not be with us today because she's seeing students. So you will probably receive the emails from her if you have not. So she's just jumped right on in, and so is Greg. So we are happy to be rounding out our team.
I have one new and one kind of new. First of all, Matt Harden, stand up again. This is our new. And where's Scott Vaughn? Scott Vaughn's not really new to the school, but he's in a new position. Instead of teaching welding this year, he's going to be over in our advanced manufacturing program.
Who else? Anyone else? Is Adam not in here? Okay, he got called away. Yeah, if you don't mind. Who's in Adam's area that could introduce? Sarah, great, thank you.
Janelle Brunswick, she is the new operating / grant coordinator. She is kind of taking over Monica's role where Monica took Melissa Watson's spot as controller.
We have some adult ed, I know, Holly, aren't they here? Is Martha here? There. Okay. Okay, great. I knew I'd interviewed several. Great, thank you. Anybody else? Seems like we're forgetting. Raise your hand if you're new and you have not been introduced, please. We don't want to overlook anybody.
I have one more, Whitney Walton, she works in the office with me, she's the HR assistant.
Oh, there she is. Stand up, Whitney. Stand up, Whitney. Make sure they know you. Good. Okay, great. Well, you know, one of the most important things we do is good hires, and we just continually are blessed with the number of people who want to work at ASU Newport and the selection that we get to make in terms of new hires. And I do believe that's what makes an excellent institution. So thank you for those of you on the hiring end and that sit on many, many committees, and then thank you all who are new for choosing ASU Newport. Today, I want to share with you, like I said, some data first, and then I'm going to update you on a few projects. Then I'm going to have Terry Ann Turner talk to you about advancement, what's going on there. Jeremy Shirley is going to give you an update on social media and marketing, and then I think Adam's coming back in, but definitely Ashley Buckman is going to update you on some enrollment management things going on, as well as ERP, the positives of ERP. We've heard other today, but we're going to stick to the positive in this session. So with that, let's go to this slide. I borrowed this from Tracy Burgess. She happened to send it to me yesterday, and I said, can I steal that? Because I thought it was such a great, great quote. For the first time in a long time, we may be down on enrollment, and that is not a bad thing, you guys. We have said all along we need to get our infrastructure solid, and we need to focus on how do we handle the growth that we've had, which has been tremendous for us. Obviously, we get tuition when we have increased enrollment, but like Dr. Welch said, no longer is the funding based solely on that. There's a piece of that they're not putting as much focus on. If we will focus on retaining the students, which y'all do a wonderful job with already, you don't have to recruit as many students to stay where you are. So again, I think this gives us an opportunity to really pay attention to each student even more than we've been able to do in the past. It doesn't keep us from fulfilling our mission, and it doesn't stop us from transforming lives. So I know some people have been a little upset about possibility of numbers being down. Don't feel that way. Just realize we're here to serve students, and we have plenty of students to serve. So that's what we're going to do. So Tracy, thank you for that great quote. Okay, so some Newport data. I think everybody's familiar with these first few slides. Our enrollment increase over the last 5 years has been 36.27%. Keep that number in mind as we're kind of talking about some of this other data. The FTE, 33.66%. This is a slide that shows national unemployment rates as well as community college enrollment. And as you can see, when you have a decline in the unemployment rates, you also have a decline in college attendance. And we've known that, just kind of nice to see it on in black and white, and also knowing that our economy is very strong right now. Student residency, this was very interesting. Craighead County has had an increase, the students that come from Craighead County, there's an increase of 47.76%. In Jackson County, we have had a decline, almost the exact same, 47.23%. In Poinsett County, we've had a slight increase, 7.48. Other counties, we've had a decrease of minus 27%. Other states, these numbers are very nominal. We've had an increase of 111%, and then foreign, 0.4%. Race, ethnicity, our black increase since it started in 12 through 16 has been 83.67%, white 30.36%, Hispanic 296%, and other a decrease in 43. The categories for reporting have changed, so this is just kind of a quick glance, but it does give you an idea of what's happening with student race and ethnicity. Gender, both have grown obviously, but the ratio male to female in 11-12 was 45 to 55, and now we're at 41 51 males to 59 females. So 59% of our population is female. So we definitely have seen a change there. We've also seen a change in the full-time to part-time. The full-time to part-time ratio when we started in 12 was 40 to 60, and that has declined. Our full-time students are down to 34% versus 66% who are part-time. Degrees and certificates awarded. Of course, this is on our bonus plan, and you know this, but the percentage you might not know, we've gone up 56.57% on the number of certificates awarded since 2012-13, and associate degrees, an increase of 80%. Retention rate has been up 34.21%. So here's our SESI data. You know, this is the tool that we survey our students with, and we have data from 2012, and then we administered again in 2016. So the red is ASU Newport in 2012, the cohort is blue, and then those top performing schools are in the gray. I guess that's where we strive to be, but we're really happy when we're right there with our peers with the cohort. So on that one, we are above the cohort on all but one measure, and that was active and collaborative learning. Then in 2016, we saw a shift with that. The first three measures were below the cohort, and the last two were above the cohort. And then when you look at just a comparison between 2012 and 2016, you can see that probably some effort was put on that one that we were low on in 2012, because we do see an increase there in the active and collaborative learning. But then we do have some areas that I know faculty have already started digging into with their deans and started looking at. So good job there. Now I want to switch over to the PACE survey. How many of you took the PACE survey? We had a not as good of a response rate as we did before, but we had a good response rate. It was really busy at the end of the spring semester, and we just had a small window of time to get that done. So we knew the response rate wouldn't be quite as high, but we did have some good results. A climate study is looking at satisfaction, which is your morale and feelings of your employees, and then productivity, which is task completion and goal attainment. We administered both times we administered the PACE survey, we did it in when there was major change going on. The first time was December 2013. I became chancellor in September 2013. We kind of thought, well, let's just get a baseline. We really didn't know where people were when they filled that out. Same with this one. We were right at the end of the HLC visit, right in the midst of ERP. So again, you have to do this trending over time to really get a sense of everything. But when we look at all of the data, we were below. Well, you probably can't see this. ASUN 2017 is in the blue. That brick color is us in 2013. If you notice, we're below all the measures where we were 2013. The green is the NILE, that's the National Institutional Effectiveness Group, norm-based, and then the other one, the purple one, is all small two-year colleges. We are above both of those cohorts in every measure. So even though maybe we dropped a little from 2013, we're still outperforming in terms of the PACE climate survey for our peers. And so that's really good news. So I guess ASU Newport is still a very good place to work. Employee trends. Let's jump over into this. I thought y'all would be interested to see. Again, keep in mind all the growth that we've had. Faculty are in blue, adjunct in orange, administrators and staff are the gray, and part-time staff are in the gold. We have seen an increase of 15.47% in the number of employees total since 2013. And then when you look at just the full-time to part-time, the full-time increase is 8.86% of that. Part-time increase has been 25.23%. This is the faculty adjunct growth, and faculty are in red, adjunct in blue. We have had faculty increase of 24.13%, and our adjunct increase has been 38.29%. A couple of factors there. One, don't forget, you could kind of see it back on the other chart, but 2 years ago, our employment laws changed. So individuals could not teach as many courses as an adjunct as they had before, so that shifted somewhat. And then we have also tried to streamline on the staff and administrative side, and that has required more part-time help to offset some of that. So when you look at the administrative and staff side, the full-time are in the red, the part-time are in the blue. We have had a decline of 3.26% in administrative and staff, and a lot of that is frontline staff. So I just want y'all to be prepared, because when we start doing some hiring, it's going to be on the staff side. They have had, just like everybody else, 36% student growth, yet we have lost employees that are there to deal with the day-to-day. And with that, we've added increased food services and those kinds of things. So we definitely, I've told them, we understand, we know, we appreciate that they've helped to streamline. We want to make sure we have the right people doing the right jobs, but once you kind of get that straightened out, then you know where the gaps are, and it's time to start building that a little bit. So we will definitely, I can't promise it'll be this year, but we will definitely be keeping our eyes on that and looking for more opportunity to have technology take over some areas to take some of that strain off as well. And then I wanted to share this slide because I'm so proud of this. We started the Faculty Excellence Fee in 2012, and since that time, we've had a 15.73% increase in faculty salaries. If you look at the top bar up there, that is the SREB average. That's where the Board of Trustees would like to see us all get, but they also understand the constraints that we have. This is an old figure. It is 1415. I can't find anything more current, but you can see we're at 47,962 on average, and the SREB is 52,070. And then Arkansas colleges across the board are 43.845. So that faculty excellence fee has definitely made a difference in our ability to shift those salaries in a positive direction. I also wanted you to be able to look at the surrounding, there was a time we felt like we lost faculty to the high schools, and if you look at the far right, those are master's degreed teachers in the high schools, and the only one that exceeds us is Springdale, right at the bottom, 49,540. The other closest, I believe, is 41. So again, I think we're, not that we wouldn't love to pay you a whole lot more, but we are making progress in that direction. So that's it as far as the data. I really, y'all are always saying you don't know what's going on, you don't have the big picture, you don't have that information. And I was hopeful that this would kind of help you see all the great things that you're doing and to be able to compare to some external entities as well. But now I want to shift and talk to you about a couple of things that are going on around campus that you're probably hearing bits and pieces about. First is on-campus privatized housing. Is everybody aware that we've been approved to do housing and we do plan to do student housing on this campus? Is everybody aware of that? Okay, no? Okay, good. Good thing we're talking about it. We are entering into a partnership. We have not selected yet, but we've gone through the RFP process. We have 2 people that responded, and we hope to make a selection at the end of this week. But basically, it's a ground lease. So they come in and they do all the construction work. They actually, the student fees will go to them, but we will operate it in terms of the day-to-day activities for the students. But here's what you can expect. They've proposed 120 units and 180 beds. We can play with that configuration, but basically you're looking at 3 buildings with a mix of units. There are fully furnished living rooms, bedrooms, large panel TV in the living room, gourmet kitchen, full-size washer and dryer, private bedrooms and baths, large walk-in closets, wired and Wi-Fi internet access throughout. Plus, they're looking at a 2,600 square foot amenity area that would serve for learning, relaxing, and possibly small retail, for sundries and that sort of thing. It would have, also that part would have a coffee bar, large screen TVs, lounge area, game tables, private study rooms, group study and presentation rooms with smart TVs and glass boards, as well as a computer lab. Now, all of this is negotiable, but these are things that they were presenting to us in terms of what they thought our students might want and what we might want. And they are affordable, the prices that they're looking at. But also, it's top-of-the-line security cameras, a key fob entry for safety, and 911 call boxes. So they've really done a good job on the security side, and we would basically get $100,000 back annually over a 35-year period to help support those services that we would need to support. And there might be some other ways to generate some revenue. So the timeline on this, we'll go to the Board of Trustees in September. We will do groundbreaking in 2018, and we will have our first move-in day. You'll have to get ready for that, Dr. Bugman, but we'll have our first move-in day where faculty and staff show up and help all the students move in fall of 2019. I just want y'all to look at this because I don't know what your dorm rooms look like when you went to college, but I assure you mine did not look like these things. So, let me back up to this one. No, I'm gonna come back to it. Okay, so kitchen, bedroom. I mean, this is amazing. I just moved my parents into a retirement facility, and this is nicer than theirs, I think. So it's just awesome. And this is just one of the companies. We don't know yet which one we're going to go to. So let me go back to this. But this is exciting. This is a game changer for Newport, and it will probably help increase that face-to-face on-campus enrollment as well. I wasn't going to take questions because we don't have a lot of time, but there's a lot of chatter. Is there anything I'm missing, anything you need to know? Or are you just amazed like I am at what? Okay, good. Yeah, I know. Well, actually, Susan Cooper, we're going to talk about, do we want faculty and residents options as well? So just kind of throw that on the table. Do what? Exactly. That's a very popular concept. I did miss a slide, and I wanted to come back to this. Professional development comes up a lot, and unfortunately, outside of faculty, we're just so limited with the state funding the way it is right now. It seems like by the time you go to all the compliance workshops, there's not a lot of time left just to send people to conferences to get new ideas and that sort of thing. But on the faculty side, it's just imperative that we keep that funding up because we do have certifications, and there are just too many things changing that we can't afford for our faculty not to be there. So I wanted you to see, I don't have a comparison for 14-15 because we changed our model in 16, but faculty development budgets were exhausted at a rate of 82.25% the first year and 85.92% the second year. So we look at that and we try to fund accordingly. So just to let you know, we are trying to make sure there are plenty of resources in those pots of money for faculty. Okay, and then I want to close my part with Jonesboro. Well, there's a couple more. Jonesboro building, everybody's been hearing about that. We do think we're going to be able to fund this, especially if the next project I talk about comes to fruition, which I feel confident it will. The Jonesboro building is going to be a mix, we think at this point, of student services functions and classrooms. We've talked about, maybe it's for those first-year students where they're having to still be in touch with admissions and financial aid throughout the semester. We'll have an opportunity to get books. We don't really know what that will look like yet. But then the top floor would be all academic classrooms, maybe even a classroom on the bottom floor, maybe some computers out there so when they're doing the enrollment process, they can fill out a FAFSA, do an application, that sort of thing. So very early in these stages, I know many of you in this room are on that committee and have been there to give input and dialogue, and we'll continue that open dialogue until the building is completed. Really the one that's closest, I think, and that we're most excited about right now is the Nursing Allied Health building. We are in desperate need. Our building probably is the worst in the state among two-year colleges. I don't know that for a fact, but I've seen all the pretty new ones around us, and we certainly are not competitive. So we have entered into a partnership with Unity Health here in town, and they have agreed to build a nursing allied health building, and it will be right in the heart of Newport. You will actually be able to see ASU Newport nursing allied health signage from Malcolm, and so it would be right there in that hospital vicinity. We're not quite sure where. We were all ready to go, and we had a little bit of a setback. We needed $500,000. We've raised $300,000 of that. We put an application in to Delta Regional Authority. It looked really good. We were very, very hopeful that we would hear something any day. And Chris Massengill was given 3 hours notice because he is a Democrat, and now we have Republicans in office. He was given 3 hours notice to vacate his office. Well, they cannot sign any grants, ours and everybody else's, until a new person is on board. So my hope is the staff has ours in the pile, sitting there ready to go, but we don't know for a fact. He and I are not just putting all the eggs in one basket. We actually have an appointment on the 25th to go start talking to the Rockefeller Foundation just to make sure we're covering our bases. We know we can come up with the $200,000, but we're trying to do it through this grant process, and especially since the money is really going to Unity and their building. I'd rather not go to our private donors, but we can always do that. So I feel sure, it's around the corner. It's just that we've had a few barriers along the way that we're working through. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about was a new energy project. You may have heard Adam talk about this a little bit. I wish he were in the room because this is probably one of the more innovative things we've done to realize the kind of cost savings that we will. It's a $4 million project, but we do not have to pay a dime of that because the company we're working with, Johnson Control, guarantees the return on investment with our utility savings, and if we don't make that, they come in and make up the difference. So we cannot lose money in this deal. And basically what it allows us to do is to have LED lighting throughout, to have a new HVAC, to have all new HVAC equipment and energy controls to help regulate the temps, and then it includes automatic setback settings to where if David's in Europe, he can change the temperature from there to make sure that we're always getting the most cost savings that we can. But even more exciting than all that is a major component is a solar array. We will be the largest publicly owned entity that has a solar array in the state that is not owned by a utility provider. We're not the first college. There's one in Pine Bluff that is doing this, but theirs is not quite as large as ours is. And this will offset 50% of the college's utility usage on this campus. And it will also provide a learning opportunity for science faculty to look at, I didn't finish all my slides here. Yeah, I did. I just went backwards, didn't I? I want you to see the solar array. Right there it is. So this will be behind us. This will be north of campus. Student housing will be northwest. If I'm actually standing due north, I don't know that I am, but housing will be over there. The solar array will be back here. But we'll also have something in the front that's kind of a teaser to let people in the community know that we do have the solar. But I'm told that there's a lot of learning opportunity, research opportunity with this type of project. So that's it for me. I just, those were the major things going on that I wanted to be sure that you at least knew about if it comes up in the community.